Welcome to the podcast of Arturo and Sylvia Escobar, a couple married for over 40 years and proud parents of 6 children who have dedicated their lives to serving and training families in the Illinois area. As realtors, their mission is not only to help you find your dream home or invest in real estate, but also to provide fresh and practical information that benefits our community. In each episode, Arturo and Sylvia share tools, tips, and resources to strengthen families both financially and personally, including marriage courses that inspire couples to stay strong and committed. They also feature special guests who contribute valuable knowledge for the growth of your family and your future. This is a space created for you to inform, inspire, and accompany you on the journey towards your dreams. Welcome. This is Cafecito con los Escobar, the podcast.
Welcome to Cafecito con los Escobar. We have a treat for you today. We're going to be talking about a special event during the process of buying or selling a home. But we have a friend, an associate in business, Jesse Berreles. Jesse, how are you, man?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Family good?
Family's great.
Business good?
Business is great. I love doing what I do. So it's almost like I don't have to work. I get to work.
That's awesome. So thank you for being here. Normally you will be in a crawl space at this hour, right?
Yeah. Thank you for dragging me out of a crawl space or out of an attic, with the cobwebs.
With the air
and
conditioning
whatnot.
and everything.
Air conditioning is great. It's
Drinking coffee.
having some coffee. Yeah. You're going to spoil me. I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Jesse. Jesse is the owner of Inspection Plus. Why Plus, Jesse?
Well, plus, because aside from inspections, we also offer other services that go hand in hand with inspections, like radon, sewer scopes. And when we first named the company Inspections Plus, we had this in mind to offer more services to our clients.
So there is a vision. And I understand it's a family-owned business, right?
It is. It is. My wife and I and my son also work in it together. We have other associates or assistants that work with us as well.
That's awesome. That's very important. Keep it in the family.
Keep it in the family. Keep it family-oriented.
Talking about home inspections from the point of view of a buyer.
Yes.
What is a home inspection? Why is so important?
Well, a home inspection or a property inspection is pretty much what the word means, right? Inspection. But we visualize, we go, we look at the property, we look at all the components of a structure. It is very important to get one if you're considering purchasing a building. An inspector is going to look at the building from a different lens. From the eyes of the inspector, we're going to look at that thing a little bit differently than you will.
Yeah, it is said that there are different people during the process of buying a home that they see the property in different ways. The seller sees it from the seller point of view, then the buyer, then the realtors, then the appraisal, all different points of view, but they all affect the process in a way. It's sometimes in a very bad way. So what we're here to talk about all of that process so that we can minimize the mistakes, minimize the things that can occur and damage the process.
Sure.
So, as a home inspector, there are so many things in the house:
Yes.
electricity, heating, roof,
Plumbing.
It's a lot of things. What are the components of the house that you concentrate the most? I know everything is important. Are there components that you really check more or concentrate your experience and your efforts to?
Well, over the years, Arturo, we've been able to master a routine, so that we don't miss certain things. Every house is different. So it's kind of difficult to say this component or this section of the inspection or property is most important. One area could be completely fine, but then Another area could be, hey, we're allowing moisture intrusion here. So it's very difficult for me to say, oh yes, this is what we focus on entirely. But moisture intrusion, water can really damage a property. It's not going to happen in one rainy season, but over the years, over the time, things can affect foundation, walls, right? So many things go with moisture intrusion, mold growth, and mold growth can affect in more than one way.
In our competitive, extremely competitive market that we're having these days, most of the sellers are selling their property as is. In fact, if you ask for in the contract for inspection with repairs, most likely they're going to choose another offer because they are selling it as is. So, and I know also it's an expense
Sure.
for the buyer's side to do an inspection, but why should they do an inspection in a practical point of view?
Long story short, what's a home inspection going to cost? Few hundred, $400, $500, roughly. Depends on the size and whatnot associated with it. But what's a few $100s versus running into a problem that can cost thousands of dollars?
So it's a way to save money in the future, or to make sure that you're not going to be inquiring at some kind of damage that comes from the former seller, something like that.
Yeah, something that may either the seller neglected or possibly didn't even know they had this problem. A lot of times I run into attic or roof problems that the seller had no idea. And that's because honestly, who gets up on the roof? Who goes into their attic? Nobody really does. And when the inspector does, we find things that sometimes, hey, this is a problem. And a lot of times, once the problems manifest or show themselves in the visible portions of the home where you're going to inhabit, by that time, oh my gosh, there's a lot of damage already done. And so that's where the thousands of dollars could potentially, cost somebody.
Yep.
Whether it be a seller or a buyer.
I remember a home inspection in the winter.
Yes.
Last year. And I had shown the house a couple of times, and I really didn't see anything wrong with the house. And remembering that when you walked in, I guess as soon as you walk into the house, you start observing the building, the foundation, whatever you know that is important, right?
Yes.
And I remember after the inspection was done, you always call your client and you give him a small verbal report.
Like a brief summary of what we found.
And one of the things that you mentioned that day was that you saw in the entrance of the house, the concrete was depressed a little bit, and there was even a little water there. And you, out of your experience, mentioned that could be a sign of sewer issues.
Yes.
Remember that inspection?
I do remember that one. So as we arrived to the property, once we start pulling up to the property, my mind just switches on, and I'm looking at it from afar. I'm looking at it up close. I'm looking for things that stick out. I'm looking for anything really. Again, every house is different.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came to my attention as I was pulling up to the property was the settled walkway in the front of the property, the dip in the yard. Okay. And so those are signs of potential. And I say potential because sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes there used to be a tree there that could have done the damage. But other times it could be signs of sewer problems.
So you look for red flags, for things that indicate this may be a problem. And I remember you recommended a
sewer scope.
Sewer scope. As a specialist to go and look at the sewer specifically.
Yes.
And that ended up saving our client about $3,500 for the sewer repairs.
Yeah.
So any other red flag that you walk into a property and you see, this might be a situation here? Any other thing that catches your attention when you walk in?
Yeah. things that catch my eye typically are any movements, settling of walkways, driveways, staining, you know, on the foundation or on sometimes the siding walls. All these are associated with gutters. You know, a lot of folks don't even pay attention to gutters. But gutters can be very deceiving. Yeah.
And as a realtors, we know those things, but we're not inspectors, so we notice and we call our attention to our clients, but we refer to the home inspection. The home inspection is going to determine if there is anything wrong with this, because I am not a home inspector. I've seen thousands of homes, but I'm not a home inspection. That's why it's important to recommend every buyer to have one, so that they are aware of things that are in the house.
Exactly. You know, we all have different mindsets and different lenses. You know,
Yeah.
as I said in the beginning, how you said in the beginning. You know, a lender is going to look at it a certain way. An agent is going to look at it a certain way. The buyer is going to look at it a certain way. The seller is going to look at it. The appraiser is going to look at it a different way, and the inspector is going to look at it, you know, in even more different, little more complicated way.
More complicated
Yeah,
way.
we're going to see things a little bit differently. No different than me. Just because I do property inspections, it does not mean that when I go to buy a property that I don't need a realtor. I wouldn't dare buy a property without a realtor. I'll just say that right now. Even though, and people hear me say this sometimes, and they'll say, "Jesse, why? What do you mean? I mean, you can see everything. You don't really need a realtor." You know what? The realtor is very important, you know, in a purchase or sale. You know, and they're involved. Their day-to-day routine is completely different than what an inspector is. I never see a real estate contract.
I have seen many of your reports, 30, 40, or maybe more pages, with a list of things that the findings during the inspection.
Yes.
And how can a buyer look at that list and prioritize in terms of the degree of cost or damage or any other degree? How can they prioritize? This is important. This is not important. How can they come to a conclusion? I will request a credit or repair this part, but this other is not so important.
Yeah, it does vary on a case by case basis. Some things are important to buyers, whereas others aren't. But what we do is with our reports, all of the defects, we call them observations, and all the observations fall under 3 different categories. Okay. Safety, maintenance, light maintenance. They're all color coded. And so we say, hey, pay attention to the red and blue sections. Those are going to be either safety concerns, okay, or potential big ticket items. Now, you know, you got to read the report guide that we include. We include an attachment, an attached document with all the reports, where you click on that attachment, it pulls up the report guide. It gives you the details of each category. And we say this on every inspection, but we recommend reading this. And then you go back, and as a buyer, you go back and you start picking out the things that you think are more important to you. Our reports are based on identifying issues. We typically say why it's an issue, okay, and we place our recommendations. And so based off of that, now the buyer can go in. You know, we're going to give you, and a lot of those things they're just tips. You know, again, the whole report really is a big recommendation.
Yeah.
You know, and you, the buyer, will decide whether you continue, how to continue, and then with the realtor by your side, you know, that knows the terms of the contract and say, hey, we can ask for a credit, or, you know, or
negotiate or even
negotiate or cancel it. Yeah.
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 I've get your earnest money back. That's why the contract calls for 5 business days, gives the buyer 5 business days to have a home inspection, and then we negotiate the repairs, credit, or even at the end cancel the contract if there is no agreement between the parties. So I've noticed that during the inspection, you're very open with the buyers.
Yes.
That you allow them to walk, to follow you, to ask questions, and I appreciate that from you because first-time home buyers don't even know how to start sometimes the heating or the
Yes.
central air
Yes.
or where the different components of
Yes.
the home
Yes.
are. So, any talking to the buyers and putting yourself as a buyer, what are the questions that a buyer should ask during that inspection that you think are important?
Again, every inspection is different, every buyer is different, but we know that first time home buyers, they face a great challenge, and part of my routine, part of my process as an inspector is welcoming them and asking them, hey, is this your first time? Feel free to bring any questions, concerns that you may have. In fact, I like to ask them at the beginning if they're already arriving to the inspection with a big weight on their shoulders. I like to relieve that weight. At least while we're there, I'll say, hey, are there any questions, concerns, something you may have spotted when you first saw the house? And so, and sometimes folks will typically unleash, or they'll say, no, we haven't seen anything. Okay. And so, yeah, we let them kind of ask their questions. Okay. And then we get back to work. That's the part that sometimes the buyer forgets, to let us get back to the job, which me as an inspector, I love when the buyers have their questions. Okay. And that's why I asked at the beginning of it, and then that way I can get back to work and I'll tell them, I don't mind you following, here and there, or, take your time. At the end, we meet for a brief summary. One of the things you should ask your inspector, I mean, if there's concerns, something you saw, yeah, absolutely. You can ask your, for me, I love those questions. I invite those questions all the time. You can ask those questions and bring them, whether at the beginning, during, or the end. But again, you got to keep in mind, you got to let the inspector work too. You know, I will never turn away a question. I will never turn away, a concerned client. But you got to let the guy work.
And when we're showing homes, when I'm showing homes, and they have a question about something that, again, I'm not an inspector, I take a note and I say, we'll ask this to your inspector when he comes and make sure that this thing is taken care of. It's specifically this point that you're concerned about. It's very, very important so that their questions and their concerns are addressed, right? So that they walk away with more assurance than when we first saw the house.
Yes.
So, yeah, we talked about buyers' inspections, but we also represent sellers.
Of course.
So, from the point of view of a seller, why is it important? Do you recommend a seller to do home inspection before placing the home on the market? And why is that recommendation important?
It's a strong recommendation so that we can make more money. I'm kidding. It's a joke. No, yes, as a seller, yeah, I get sellers all the time to do a home inspection. And the primary reason is I know I'm putting the house on the market. The potential buyer is going to get a home inspection. I would rather know what I'm going to run into, what a potential inspection company is going to find on my property. Because again, like we said in the beginning, through the lens of an inspector, through the eyes of the inspector, right? Things are seen differently, as in compared to the way a seller sees it, the way a buyer sees it. But what are we going to run into a home inspection? So a lot of times sellers, they want to know, okay, what do I need to fix? Or what do I want to fix? Or sometimes they can use it and say, hey, I had an inspection done. Here's the report if you want it. However way you want to work that. But you can also say, hey, we know that it has this issue. We're going to fix it. We're going to offer credit. We're not going to do anything. Heads up, type of thing. And so that just
disclosing the items that are a problem is very essential for the buyer to be reassured that this seller is being clear, and also avoid situations during the process that could have been fixed before. Sometimes simple things, right?
Yes.
That couldn't be fixed before putting the house on the market, and that will make sure that the process goes easy.
Oh yeah.
Without interruptions and without any extra negotiations.
Right.
Could be avoid all of that could be avoided
Right.
by doing an inspection before pre-listing.
And I think a seller who identifies problems and takes care of them, it would put the buyers a little bit more at ease with, wow, he was honest. He said this is what happened.
Yeah.
And as inspectors, we can see that too. Like, oh, there used to be a problem here, but I'd see that it was fixed, and things like that. And usually they'll comment that to a buyer, right? I know we're talking about sellers right now, but as an inspector, I've seen that something was fixed, and I'll tell them, look, I see this issue here. Water used to get in here, or whatever the case may be. This used to happen, but based off of what I've seen today, it's no longer happening. Looks like it was repaired. Looks like the problem was taken care of.
So once an issue is found, the seller has options, right? And the buyers have options. Either ask for repairs, ask for credit, or again, cancel the contract if we are and we should be in the 5 business days approval.
Yeah.
Inspection approval.
Yes.
So those are things that, again, make the process simple, make the process easy to conduct it, and avoid problems during the whole process. Is when a seller calls you from a home inspection, do you see it differently? Is it a different inspection, or is it the same?
Honestly, I treat every inspection the same, unless there are different inspection types. Sometimes we'll do a 5-point inspection, and then, or a full inspection, but other than that, every inspection is the same. I get this all the time with buyers, sellers, agents. They'll say, hey, this is an as is. This is, they'll tell me the terms or part of the terms of the contract. So, which honestly, to me, I respectfully, I say, okay, thank you. Hey, this is an FHA deal. This is a VA deal, which I do know what all those mean, what all those terms mean. But honestly, we're still going to do our job just the same every time. Because just because a property, one of the terms is, as is condition, does, to me as an inspector, that really doesn't mean a whole lot. It doesn't mean, okay, I really don't have to inspect this place anyways, because it's an as is deal. It doesn't matter what I find, right? I still have to do my job and do it the same every time.
So homeowners love their places. I love my place.
Yes.
And it's a perfect place for me.
Yeah.
And I think everything is working.
Yeah.
Right now. Hopefully,
of course.
The air conditioning is working.
Yeah.
But is there a perfect home out there that you could say, wow, this is impressive, this guy has taken care of? Or there is always concerns? And what concerns more? Heating, air conditioning, roof, big items. Is that that something that concerns you most, and you could advise your clients, hey, this is a must, needs to be taken care of? Or what items concern you the most?
Yes. So there were several questions there. The first one was, okay, have I ever had a home? You as a homeowner, hey, your home is perfect. It's flawless. You
doesn't
love
smell.
It doesn't smell. The air conditioning is working. I feel comfortable. I sleep like a baby. Every night. This home is perfect. You're not going to find anything, Mr. Inspector. Well, in about 10 years of experience and roughly about 4,000 inspections that I've been able to do, not once have I found the perfect home. And mind you, we do new constructions. We do pre-drywall inspections, meaning before they put up the drywall, the finishings. Not once have I found the perfect home. without a defect. Honestly, we're human beings. Human
Indeed.
beings are so imperfect. Okay.
Mhm.
And these imperfect human beings are working on houses. Okay. So it's okay. And my job isn't to call anybody out, put them to shame. No, it's just identifying certain issues, concerns. But again, the perfect house never exists. In fact, when a new construction is built, it's done, it's complete. That's the day it starts to deteriorate.
Yeah.
So it's starting to fall apart, you can say,
Mhm.
day one.
Yeah.
You know, and so
But
yeah.
in all of that, there are items like roof,
Yes.
like heating, air conditioning,
Yep.
plumbing
Mhm.
that weigh more
Yes.
once when you want to sell or you want to buy your home
Mhm.
to avoid problems again in the
Right.
future, right?
Right.
So those items need to be checked very closely to make sure that they are in
Oh, yeah.
operating
Yep.
conditions.
Yeah, we inspect all those items, you know, the structure, the foundation, the roof structure, attics, furnace, water heater, air conditioners. You know, we take average life expectancy of the material or the components. And then some of those components will have manufacturer tag with information
Mhm.
that tells you the age of each component. And we will include all of that in the report. We'll say, hey, on average, a furnace is 15 to 20 years.
Mhm.
You know, this one is going to be 12 years old. You know, sometimes we'll throw in there, actually, I always throw in there the brand because, you know, as of just like everything, cars, you know, certain brands are honestly better than others,
Yep.
you know. And so I do mention that, you know, on average, 15, 20 years for a furnace. You know, but there are certain brands. There's about 5 or 6 brands out there that last significantly longer, and obviously with maintenance. And these are the discussions that we have with folks.
Awesome. Final advice for both buyers and sellers. What would you advise them both?
Buyers and sellers. Don't be afraid to ask questions, okay? To your inspector. Honestly, I would say one of the biggest things that I run into, and one of the things I think on just about every single property that I go to, is your gutters. Guys, gutters. So we have roof, siding, and gutters. All three are just as important. All three work together. All three keep water out and away from your home and your foundation. Okay? All three are just as important. Okay? Of the three, the least expensive is the gutters. Okay? And so they tend to be neglected. Very important. Even with new construction, new builders, they just put the downspout, the elbow, and call it a day. That's not enough. We come out, and I know builders out there, it's always a battle between builders and inspectors, but they're not going to spend a penny more, you know, to extend that or bury them, make underground drain systems. Okay. But very important, very important. Sometimes a $20 gutter extension, a $20 fix can save you $20,000 or more of foundation repair because it's not going to happen in one rainy season, but over time, you know, water does damage material.
And the idea is to throw the water away from the foundation with
Away.
that small extension, right?
Yep, get it away, 4 to 5 feet away. You know, and I've seen folks that make the attempt of extending the thing and call it a day, but guess what? Right where it discharges, the land slopes back towards foundation, and so you're defeating the purpose. So it's not extended far enough away.
Wow. Jesse, this is great information. We are so grateful that you're here with us.
I'm glad to be
I
here.
know this is going to be put to use for our clients and for people that listen to the podcast. So we're very grateful that you have taken your time. I know we only gave you coffee. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's great.
Okay. So, but you are welcome.
I
This
only
is your
came
home.
because of the coffee, but it was great. Yeah.
And well, again, thank you for being here. And Sylvia, that was your turn.
Thank you, Arturo, and thank you, Jesse, for sharing such valuable information with our community. I wanted to share with you our next seminar. This is in person in July, but it is in Spanish. So if you know Spanish and you want to be there in person, July 18th, we have a panel of people who will be sharing their experience as first-time home buyers and as investors. So if you are thinking about buying or your first home, or you're thinking about investing, this panel is going to be great for you, because there's nothing like hearing the experience of people who have gone before you on the path that you want to take. So join us, register. The link will be below. It's on July 18th. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning. By the way, we will have a panel also speaking on a webinar in English in August. So stay tuned for that if you prefer that. See you in one of those.